past. Another wild card for the Nuggets is Michael Porter Jr. We saw him about a week or two ago go for 25 points on about 90% shooting from the field that night. If they can start getting solid production, although I wouldn't count on it given the young man's history of injury, but if something can happen and they get Michael Porter playing good basketball for them when the playoffs come around, they could be a very dangerous team. And Jokic is taking his game to another level, and that's a scary thing as well. If he continues to do that, he's going to find himself in the MVP race.
The man they call the Joker, Nikola Jokic, I love watching him play. I love watching him help lead this Denver Nuggets team. What gets them over the hump in the postseason?
Jokic must take over. He must be aggressive. We saw earlier in the season, Brian, where it looked like the guy forgot how to shoot. He had several games where he was in single-digit scoring. He had, double-digit assists, double-digit rebounding because he can do just about everything else. And I'm like you, Brian. It is so fun to watch Jokic play basketball, a 7-footer who can dribble, who can pass. He can do just about everything except jump. But he's an excellent player, but that's what's going to put him over. I think it's the combination of Jokic and Murray. We've seen Murray score over 50 points in a game. We know he's got that killer instinct in him. They need both of those guys simultaneously to play their best basketball, and if that happens, they could find themselves in the conference finals.
Last but not least, let's look at Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks.
Luka must-see TV, and I never thought I'd say that when the season started, Brian. I thought Luka had a great rookie year. I had no idea he was going to take his game to the level that we're seeing right now. Very similar to Jokic in Denver. When the Mavericks are on, I've got to see it because I love watching this kid play basketball, Brian. He had a rough night again against the Lakers the other night. Ripped his jersey. I guess that's the thing that he likes to do when he's having a bad night. Luckily for the Mavericks, he doesn't have too many of those. He's an exciting player to watch. And if he does average 30 points with a triple-double this season, you have to give him the MVP. And I'll give you another quick caveat, Brian. If he wins the MVP, will be the youngest MVP in the history of the NBA because currently that goes to Derrick Rose at age 22 when he won the MVP back in 2011. Mm-hmm. So let's see if Luka can accomplish that feat.
Luka is must-see TV. So is Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. And our ultimate insider, Chris Pirtle, joins me every week to break down the happenings of the NBA. You can catch him on this program, as I mentioned, every single week. Man, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show. It's a pleasure to have you back, and thanks a lot for the time.
Brian, I appreciate it. I could talk to you all day, but your wife probably wouldn't go for that. So always a pleasure being on with you, and you have a great weekend, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Hey, don't go away. There's more of the Daily BS coming your way after these. Welcome back. We continue on this premiere episode. Hope you're enjoying it as I'm enjoying bringing it to you. And there was some more stuff that happened, and some of it sounded like this. Did y'all see what happened Saturday night in Baltimore? The Tennessee Titans are not fooling around. First, they take out the defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, and then they go to top-seeded Baltimore, hang 28 points at M&T Bank Stadium, silence the crowd, and they make the Baltimore Ravens look, well, pedestrian. I thought for sure that the Baltimore Ravens would be the AFC representative. Hell, they were my pick after they walloped New England in Baltimore. But it just goes to show you that's why they play the games. I had a prediction said to me after Mike and I did our picks on Friday, and I'll say it again. I was wrong. I was dead wrong. I didn't think that Tennessee would be able to hang with the high-flying Baltimore Ravens. they chopped the Ravens down to size. They came after Lamar Jackson and made him a one-dimensional player, which is crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. 28-12 was the final score. And I said 35-31 Baltimore. Hell, Tennessee nearly had 31, but they held Baltimore well below their averages. Well below their averages. I mean, a dynamite season for Lamar Jackson. But if you want to draw some parallel to the San Francisco 49ers of the early 2010s, you know who their offensive coordinator is? The offensive coordinator for the Ravens is? Mr. Greg Roman.
Hier eine Durchsage für alle, die beim Fahren etwas vermissen. Im neuen Honda Civic erleben Sie wieder echtes Fahrgefühl und werden eins mit der Straße. Jetzt zur Premiere mit günstigen Leasingangeboten. Der neue Honda Civic, eins mit der Straße. Und am 25. Januar live beim Honda-Frühstück. Bei Ihrem Honda-Händler.
And I guess we're live. A little technical difficulty on episode 3 of the Matthew Lyle Show. Your host, as always, Matthew Lyle, joined by the one, the only Michael Buckeister. Are you back?
I'm right here, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Looks like that streaming that porn is starting to catch up to you a little bit.
Never, man, never.
That is starting to run a little slow. So how you been today, sir? We took the weekend off.
We did.
I think we're looking, at least because we're getting to the point where where all the seasons are really ramping up. We got baseball. World Series starts tonight. Actually, I think it just started probably about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm actually watching it right now. So
we'll dive into that a little bit. We got I don't know what that is. Sounds like somebody's eavesdropping in. I hear like static and somebody breathing.
Think you're hearing things, brother.
Probably. I feel like Mike. I feel like you have people like just chained up in your basement, just chained up there, and they're begging to be set free.
Yeah. Quiet over there.
So we have World Series starts tonight, and from somebody who is just a World Series fan, like I'm not a baseball fan. I don't have a team. I've tried to pick a team. I just can't get into it. From somebody who just says, you know what, when the World Series – I do the same thing with the Stanley Cup. When the World Series is here, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to enjoy not being emotionally involved. Really, the only time I think I was ever, quote-unquote, close to emotionally involved was when I cared enough to see the Cubs want to end their 100-year drought.
Yeah.
So
that was really exciting to watch that.
But I'll be honest with you, I think I'm just trying to think back of a couple, and this is just off the top of my head. I don't have a list here. I think you had that one that was very interesting, Cubs winning it. And then I think I watched the next year when the Astros won it, and they beat the Cleveland Indians. I remember watching that strictly because I thought Cleveland Indians could be the next team to break the losing streak, and then they didn't. And then last year, I think, with the Red Sox, and that made it somewhat interesting because people hate the Red Sox. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I really care about this one. We got Nationals, if I'm not mistaken, and Astros.
Yep.
So if I was just rooting from not watching, like if I was to pull up the ESPN app and I watch it, I'm not going to root for either particular one. If I was just going to pull my phone up, I would probably say – okay, Astros 2 out of 3. I like a dynasty. I like a heavy hitter. I like the new guy at the party who's just smashing everything.
Right.
There's a part of me that. Then there's also this intriguing part that's almost this underdog-like where, if I'm not mistaken, I believe his name was Bryce Harper, left dollars, and then the Nationals make the World Series.
Yeah.
I find that something a bit ironic. But apparently the Nationals barely make the playoffs, which that's my kind of my whole beef with the Major League Baseball. My beef with baseball itself is that the sport's atrocious. The sport is just boring. It's just when done properly, it's just two dudes playing pitch, and I don't have time for that. Major League Baseball, my problem with that itself is 160-plus games, and you got one-game playoffs, and you got 18 playoffs, and I just think when we play that long, the playoffs should reflect that properly. Now, in their defense, I mean, they have a team that barely snuck in. They have a team that are the Washington Nationals who barely snuck in, and I think they swept their way to the World Series, or at least in that last round. So right. I'm sure they're quite thrilled with that part of the product. But overall, it's just very boring. I believe I'll be watching from my phone, as in not live at all. I'll be watching the little stream, looking at scores. And my luck, here's probably what's going to end up happening, is game 1 or 2 will be amazing. We'll go down in history as the greatest thing that's ever existed. And then I'll tune in for game 3 and 4, and they'll be the snore fest that baseball is known to be.
Right. So let me stop you right there once.
You're not going to stop anything, but
this
boring. The boring train's coming.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like I see why you were rooting for the Cubs. I see why you're kind of rooting for the Indians, and then the Astros. I mean, you should be rooting for the Washington Nationals now, because they have never made it to the World Series before ever in their franchise history. So, you could be the first time ever.
Long. If their history is not that long, and right. Montreal, it's a lot like Carolina Panthers. And people's like, oh, I mean, they made it to a couple World Series, but if the Carolina Panthers won the Super Bowl, you'd be like, oh, that's the first team. Well, they've only been around since 1995. So right. That pales in comparison to if Detroit Lions won it, if the Cleveland Browns won it, or if a team. You get what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So it's kind of like that, and it's just not enough to make me care.
Right.
Moving on to some sports that I do care about a little bit, or quite a bit. We'll go NFL. We'll try to stick it in order of the seasons that we're progressing. So we'll go NFL. Mike, you got to be heartbroken. I mean, Mahomes, kneecap. I believe our last show was Wednesday, so I don't think we talked.
We didn't.
Since the Thursday kneecap incident. Now, he's saying he's okay. He's saying 3 weeks. But that's 3 weeks with Matt Moore. That's 3 weeks of – it's not a guaranteed 3 weeks. It's not like this is a 1 week injury, but we're going to make it 3. I feel like 3 might be rushing it. That could be huge. That could be a big setback for a team that, let's be honest, hasn't looked glorious already.
Right. The defense has been pretty disheartening, until Thursday night when they shut down the Denver Broncos and held them to 6 points, I believe it was.
They didn't go against Joe Flacco. They won 6. But I feel like sometimes when you have a bad quarterback, or when you don't have your true quarterback, the emotion of that game gets played out because it hasn't fully sunk in. Typically, guys on the sideline aren't aware. All they know, Patrick Mahomes could come out the next half. It's when it sets in a couple weeks. When you look at this guy and you say, holy crap, this is the next month of our life. This is what we have to do for the next 5 weeks, 4 weeks. And I think that's where some frustration sets in.
Yeah, but on the positive side of the Chiefs, like Thursday night, we finally got the defensive starters back in the lineup. You got Hitchens back healthy. You got Chris Jones back healthy. So the defense is starting to get all their starters back and starting to click. At the same time, yes, Patrick Mahomes could be out 3 to 6 weeks. I'm hoping they hold him out for the 6 weeks because you have to think of the longevity of the quarterback in the end. But these next 3 games coming up, we had the Packers on Sunday Night Football. Then I'm drawing blanks of who was next. I think it's the Vikings after that, and then I want to say it's the Tennessee Titans. So 2 very winnable games between the Vikings and the Texans, versus the Titans. Now the Packers I think Patrick Mahomes could be 100% healthy, and the way the Packers are looking, the Packers are they're
one thing that helped you out, one thing that really assisted you there is that you beat the Broncos, you beat a division rival. Then the Raiders lost to the Packers, and Those Titans you were just talking about beat the Chargers, so that really helped you in your favor.
Right.
Looking around the rest of that, I mean, are we – so I feel like the AFC – and this is what scares me as a Patriots fan. I feel like the AFC is the trains a chugging for the Patriots to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, they pretty much demolished the Jets, and you can say whatever you want. Oh, they haven't played anybody and all this, which I have two thoughts on that. First off, this isn't college football. They don't get to pick their schedule.
Right.
And if you want to have some kind of absurd mindset that the NFL colludes for the Patriots to win, when I'm pretty sure Roger Goodell hates Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady up there
Right.
with the best of them.
100%.
So I don't know where you would come from that this – because I've heard people say, well, after 9/11, the Patriots, blah, 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 and all that, which I don't know how true that is. Yes, they were a Patriots team, but I think how much more success – we're just kind of going down a rabbit hole with this, Mike.
Yeah.
But if you want to go back to that conspiracy theory of 9/11, yes, they not the actual date, but the NFL wanting the Patriots to win because of that.
Yeah.
I get that they have the name Patriot on it and they wanted everybody to be Patriots, but don't you think it would have rang even louder if the Giants had won that, or if the Jets, or if New
Right.
York, yeah. look how good of a story it was after Katrina, the Saints won.
Exactly.
And that's not a national place. That's not something that needed to come together. That was a city that had gone through hell, and they won it, and it brought everything together. I think it would have rang much louder if we're putting our tinfoil hats on. If we're speaking conspiracy theories, it would have rang much louder if the Giants would have won it, or the Jets, or even the Cowboys, or a team that America,
America's
got,
team,
not even a team that you got to love. But 2000, 2001, there wasn't Twitter, there wasn't Facebook. Everybody just kind of assumed everybody loved everybody as far as football goes, and I think the Cowboys would have been America's team that's on TV. To have a Patriots team that really had been irrelevant, with a sixth round quarterback, hey, I don't find that as any kind of ploy. But I digress.
Like if you're really thinking about that, I mean, like the Giants, if it is plotted for a certain team to win, like every year, I mean, after 9/11, I mean, it had to have been the Giants. I mean, like that would have been the team to win because they're in New York, they're in Manhattan,
The Giants made it to the Super Bowl, I think, just a year or two before. So it's not like – and I don't know exactly how good that roster was or wasn't, so I don't know how hard it would have been, even if we're thinking the nuttiest conspiracy here. But just in general. So the Patriots, I don't believe the NFL made them have an easy schedule.
Right.
And I love how the narrative always changes as if you have the Patriots here. So, for example, I've heard a lot of people say the Patriots are going to struggle with the Steelers. Did people know the Steelers were going to fall apart? No. But now they're like, oh, well, the Steelers haven't played anybody, or the Patriots haven't played anybody, and now we're getting to the meat of their schedule, and destiny has just taken over. I'm not saying that they're a team of destiny, but just life has happened. The Browns aren't near as good as we thought they'd be. There's a good chance that when they play the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes could be out, or at least not 100%.
Right.
The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, I kind of like what he's done as a runner, but I feel like Bill Belichick's going to have something for that. So people are still finding ways to say, well, they still aren't going to play anybody. My only concern, if you look at the Patriots Super Bowls, now I'm not going to go individual seasons. I'm just going Patriots Super Bowls.
All 6 of them.
No, all 9 of them. The ones that they've been to. Not the wins, the ones that they've been to.
Okay.
You'll see kind of a theme. The first one, could this young quarterback keep up with the greatest show on turf? Yes, they could. Yes, they did. The next Super Bowl they were in. Can this offense score on that Panthers defense? Yes, they did. Yes, they could. They won.
Yeah.
Can they keep the third Super Bowl? Can they score with the Philadelphia Eagles? See, that team had McNabb. You had T.O. coming back from a leg injury. You had Brian Westbrook. That was a good team. Can Patriots score with that? They could. They did. They won. 2007, guaranteed win. Undefeated Patriots. Give it to them now. Don't even play the game. They lost. 2012, Tom Brady's not going to lose to the Giants twice. They did.
They did.
The next one, Legion of Boom. No way Tom Brady's going to score on Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, that team. No way. They did. They won. The next year, I don't think Tom Brady, or the next Super Bowl, I don't think Tom Brady could keep up with the Falcons, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan. They did. Well, surely Tom Brady can't lose to a backup. He can't lose to Nick Foles and the Eagles. They can't keep up with the Patriots. Patriots lost.
Right.
And then I feel like last year, even though the game was kind of just the most lopsided game that the Patriots have had in the Super Bowl, and that was only a 7-point win, even last year it was, can Tom Brady outscore Sean McVay and his great offense? It didn't have to. What was it, 10-3, 13-3?
Right.
So what I'm saying is I'm very nervous as a Patriots fan that when we're just giving it the Super – now, because there's always the jokes that Tom Brady will be in every Super Bowl till he's 50, but the facts remain that it's NFL. He's one bad hit away from being done. His team's one bad game away from losing, especially in the AFC – or in the AFC. So I'm very nervous about that. I'm very nervous about everybody just crowning them already because Tom Brady is a machine, a beast that feeds off of doubt. And right now, I mean, he didn't play very good last night, and there's still not a lot of doubt. You know, right. And look, I'm not saying he needs doubt to play good, and they're playing – that defense is playing as good as I've seen it play in years. But it just makes me a little nervous as a Patriots fan that we're pretty much trying to deprive Tom Brady and this offense and this team that lives off doubt. We're depriving them of doubt.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, if you want any doubt in your mind whatsoever, I believe it's these next 5 or 6 weeks in a row. Like this is the meat of their schedule. Like I think they play the Ravens, the Browns, the Chiefs.
And I think that's what it takes. But right. The problem is you don't want the doubt to ever come from that bad of a place. Like, for example, last year, the Patriots lost 5 games. All 5 of their losses I'll get to that, Chuck. All 5 of their losses come from teams that really wanted to beat them but wasn't good enough to really be in their league. The Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm hearing some static there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if that's my end or what, but
I don't hear anything. In the chat, guys, let us know if you're hearing us okay.
Yeah, it feels like just somebody's crinkling paper in my ear. The games they lost were to non-playoff teams that no one cared about except for those teams. The Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Dolphins. I'm trying to think of the other ones that beat us. They just really wanted it. They just needed that win, and then the team went to poop after that, and then the Patriots keep on winning. So most of the success here lately has come after a 2-2 start by the Patriots. So I'm a little nervous about that. I seen what Charles Moats wrote about, is Tom Brady the next Drew Brees? Well, Drew Brees, I don't even want to consider him Drew Brees, because he talked about Ben. I don't even want to put Drew Brees in there because Drew Brees is kind of a freak accident. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't consider Drew Brees' injury to have anything to do with age related, or has played. Because it wasn't that he was just really struggling and he got hurt while struggling. He just made a routine pass and hit his thumb on somebody's helmet.
Yeah.
And you could be 25 or you can be 45. You hit your hand on a helmet hard enough, it's going to break, Mike. So, I mean, I don't really consider that, unless you're going to make some kind of joke that he's so old that his bones are brittle. But, I mean, it's not like it's a knee. It's not like it's an ankle. It's not even like it's that shoulder that's played. It's just a hand. Now, Ben, the difference between Ben, and I'll even lump Aaron Rodgers into this, even though the guy's paying out of this world right now, the thing that separates Tom Brady from those two is what makes, in my opinion, what makes Tom Brady so great, is it's his awareness. He's very aware of himself. Tom Brady says, you know what? I know I'm 42 years old. I know I don't have the strongest arm. I know I don't have the best line. When's the last time you've seen Tom Brady just stand in the pocket with something to prove? Big Ben, that man loves to stand in a pocket. Aaron Rodgers loves to throw it 70 yards downfield. Tom Brady doesn't. Tom Brady says, you know what? My line's not the best. I'm not the best body. I can't throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field consistently without like putting a lot of strain on my arm. Give me guys that can catch it at 5 yards, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and I think there's some stat out there where he's getting rid of the ball like at under 2 seconds, like 80% of the time, or something ridiculous to that effect.
I mean, like last against the Jets, he was averaging 5 yards a pass. That's what he wants, and it wins because that defense. Tom Brady, and I hate to say this, is a huge Tom Brady fan, but Tom Brady, and I don't mean this is a disrespect, and I feel like it's been used that way. I feel like we're getting attacked, Mike. I feel like this fuzzing in my ear is crazy. It's getting louder. But Tom Brady is, you must not hear it. I do, so I don't know. And actually, is there a button that you hit when you talk?
No.
Because like when you talk, it goes away. But like when you're back, try to mute it real quick.
There you go.
See, it's gone. Anyway, I don't know. I'll muscle through it. That's what the great ones do. But Tom Brady is become the best case game manager because Tom Brady doesn't have to be Hall of Fame Tom Brady 10 drives a game. He just has to do it 1, maybe 2 to put them away. And I'll be honest with you, if that defense can rig up 2 or 3 turnovers a game and Tom Brady can give you 2 or 3 drives, I hate to say it because it doesn't sound like a sexy 19-0. That's the kind of team that goes 19-0. But it's awesome.
And then they added the Falcons wide receiver too for help for some downfield action as well. So
and I don't even think Tom Brady wants anybody that can go downfield as much. Tom Brady wants somebody that can catch that 5-yard pass and turn it into 15.
I'm not saying he is going to exploit a 40, 50-yard pass downfield, but the threat is now there to go down deep. So it widens the box a little bit. So they don't have 8 guys in there stopping Sony Michel and stopping the 5-yard slants. You have that pass deep.
To Charles's original point, the reason I can't put Tom Brady in that same box as Big Ben and maybe even Aaron Rodgers in a couple of years is because Tom Brady says, you know what? I mean, if you look at it, it's everywhere in this man's career. You know what? I don't need that validation. I don't need ESPN to tell me I'm great. I don't need to show you on Peyton Manning, what is that ESPN Plus show he does. I don't need ESPN I don't need them to pick me apart and showing how great my arm is. That's why, and if it wasn't for the Antonio Brown debacle, that's why I thought that would work out. Because both Tom Brady and Julian Edelman would have let Antonio Brown feel like he was the best thing in that locker room because they know inside their hearts he's not. But they don't need to say it out loud. It comes when it comes time to him taking pay cuts. That's why you don't hear a lot of stuff come out between them in the locker room. He doesn't need ESPN to validate whatever he needs validated. He's just, and I think that's what's going to make him great. Whether he plays 1 more year or 5 more years, it's the fact of his self-awareness. The fact that he says, you know what, all this is my weakness. This is my team's weakness. We can make this work. He has no problem handing the ball off to Rex Burkhead, of all people, for 45 times. He just doesn't have any problem. So
yeah, and I really feel like that is what some of the best players do is they know their strengths and they know their weaknesses. He knows his strength is a 5-yard slant, a 7-yard out. He knows he cannot throw the ball 20 yards downfield. That's really
the thing that a lot of the greats miss, Mike. I mean, and I'm not taking anything away from the greats. I'm not saying Tom Brady's the greatest of everything because there's tiers to this.
Right.
But Kobe Bryant once said, I'll go 0 for 30 before I go 0 for 12, which basically means no matter how bad I'm shooting, I'll keep shooting.
Right.
That's not really what Tom Brady does. Tom Brady says, you know what? Not my day, bad weather, arms hurting. Here, take the ball. Now, I know basketball and football is 2 different sports. I don't want to hear the difference, but it's just that mindset, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Kobe's like,
I get exactly where you're coming from.
I will say, and Jordan still does it. Muhammad Ali did it up until his old age. They're still the greatest. Go sit down somewhere. Now, because people like to pick on Tom Brady because he says it in the locker room. He says, I'm the greatest mother effer and all this. A lot of times I think that's just show and he hypes up his team because they can see it. I still think he may think he's the greatest, but he also knows what he sucks at, and I think that's what a lot of people miss.
Yeah.
Let's bounce over to the AFC, the NFC. The AFC.
That's kind of why you got to respect him so much because he is like a dunk. He is like a dunk on the pond. Like he is calm, cool, and collective like in the game. But you see him on this on the sideline, he is going through that tablet like crazy. He's he's upset. So I mean, that's why it's hard to hate him.
Right. And me and Billy used to talk about this a lot, and I don't want to get too off subject, but people make fun of LeBron James, and maybe they make fun of this player or that player for wanting to do this other things. The mindset that even Tom Brady, even though I do think he's one of the most self-aware superstars, he still has that, like you said, that desire to always be great.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods, these are the models of excellence in their own sports. And I'm taking LeBron James out because the reason I didn't mention LeBron James is a lot of things that LeBron James does is body wise. It's God-given 6'8", faster than a cheetah, can jump out of the gym.
Right.
And I'm not saying anything bad about it, but everybody's like, oh, well, LeBron doesn't have the killer instinct. Okay, Mike and Jordan and Kobe did, but what did it cost them? How many – we don't know it all because I always say Jordan lived in the perfect era. Jordan lived in the perfect era where you could see his game because everything was on TV, TNT, ESPN, WGN, but there was no social media. There was no – Michael was probably a dickhead, but you couldn't see it because there was no social media. You just heard stories.
Right. Yeah.
But at what cost? I'm pretty sure he's been divorced. I don't know what relationship he has with his kids, but I know his kids had a crap ton of pressure. And I'm just comparing. I'm just comparing what we've seen. I've read books on Jordan, and then you see social media. I would say LeBron has a great relationship with his family.
Taco Tuesday.
Right, and that is very annoying. And then he tried to copyright it. But I would say, what has Kobe gone through? What has Tiger gone through?
Yeah.
And I think when you have this drive to be the best, to be the number one at life, at everything you come in contact with, it's going to have – you can't get it all, right? Like you can't be 6-0 in the NBA Finals and then still say, you know what, I'm going to spend a great amount of time with my family. No, you just don't do that. You can't do like – that's why I give LeBron all the props in the world. Yes, he has a losing record in the finals. But the fact that his ability, he's just been able to keep on churning, and for the most part, he stayed relatively healthy, except last year, which I don't know how much last year was just because it was a lost season. But he's been able to keep that. And people say, they need to have this, but at what cost? Because, Mike, you're a family man, you got a wife, you got a child. If you could be the Bill Belichick at any level, high school, college, NFL, how much of that family, and you've talked about your parents coming to visit, how much of that would you sacrifice to get just to that next level of coaching, even if it's at high school level, just to be that guy that spends 100 hours in front of a TV set just so you don't lose to Jeffersonville High next week?
Right.
And a lot of people aren't, and I think it's for the best. I mean, I'm not. I'm a guy that I work to live. I don't live to work. I got on a tangent like that, but I feel like that's a lot of people. That's a lot of the intangible people don't understand when they're like, well, Jordan didn't do Jordan. And I love Jordan. Jordan's my favorite player. But when they say Jordan never lost, Kobe never did this, well, it also came at a huge cost.
Right.
And not every athlete's willing to pay it, and I don't blame them.
I feel like once you're at that pinnacle, at the professional level, like you have to have a woman in your court, in your backcourt, that has your back more than anybody else in the world whatsoever. Like my wife, for example, she knows that once she goes to bed at 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, I'm going to watch film till 10, 11:30 at night because I want to put my kids in the best position possible to win a sectional championship, to win a regional championship. And I think nowadays with the social media that we have, these other wives see what the other players are doing, and they want their husbands, their fiancés, to get that $100 million contract. They know what they have to sacrifice. So I think the world that we live in now with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and we see all that stuff, like more people understand. So I'm not like because like I kind of feel like we are taking away what LeBron James does in the offseason for example. I'm sure it is hard work keeping that 6'8", 260-pound frame body.
I'm sure it is,
ripped
Mike.
and
But
in shape
what I'm
the way-
saying is there's
the
always
way he is.
more. Like, you watch film from 10 to 11, 30. You can do it to 12. You could be doing it right now. And I think the truly great ones, and I'm not saying you're not great, because everybody's great at their own thing, but the true ones that people don't see they have no time for this.
Right.
They have no time for this conversation. Tom Brady, I doubt he has time for. I mean, what he gives like 15 minutes to a radio station, like that's it. And you're right. I mean, the wives, the family, they understand. But I think there's a part that even me and you can't fathom. And I think it's just because I always say this: people not everybody's meant to be rich. I hate to go out and bust bubbles. Not everybody's meant to be rich. Not everybody's meant genetically and mentally to do what it takes to be a millionaire, a billionaire. Because Mike, that's why you see when people win the lottery, the reason they go broke has nothing to do with, well, they didn't know how to spend it. Everybody knows how to spend money. It's easy to do. I mean, literally, when you go somewhere, it tells you how to spend it. Like, it tells you what to do. The reason they do it is they're not mentally tough enough to say no to here or mentally hard enough to just say, you know what, get out of my face. That's why, like, your Bill Gates and your Warren Buffetts, they are on a different level mentally. Maybe not even Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan was a different thing. But they are on a level to where I really like you, dude, but you're fired because you're holding me back.
Yeah.
Or I really like this, or I really like this product, but I feel like this product can do so much better. And everybody's just not meant to be that way, Mike. And I don't think, like, I'm meant to be, I truly think of my own, I'm meant to be struggling well off.
Yeah.
Where I figure if you ever see me, Mike, in my peak of financial success, my financial advisor would look at my money and say, you should be living really well off, but you're struggling. And that's because I have no financial awareness. I'll just be like, oh, I got a
why
dollar.
we have wives.
Right. And my wife's just as bad. I hope she's not listening, but she's just as bad. But other people aren't. And some people aren't meant to be rich. I'm not meant to be a billionaire. I truly believe it, because I'd have us all in trouble. Or what I'd do is I'd make my first millions and quit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, because I watch Shark Tank all the time. And on Shark Tank,
Yep.
Yeah, the Shark Tank, when the guy's like, I'll give you $1 million for 80%, and then you just sit back and make money off the next 20, and they're like, I can't do it. Nick sent an emoji, but I don't know what it is. So
he's laughing at you.
Oh, but I'm sitting there at Shark Tank like, fucking sell, like, get rid of it, sit back and make money. But I didn't go through the hustle and grind of making this product.
Well,
So since I didn't go through that product, I have no problem selling it off to the highest bidder.
Right.
All right, let's get back to sports here. So
Tangent
AFC
over.
right now it's Patriots. I'd like to see what Lamar Jackson can do, but until he develops more of an arm, I don't really consider them contenders quite yet. The NFC, I at the beginning of the season, I thought it was going to be Patriots, Saints, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, but another number 12 has crept their way into this. I am surprised, A, Packers defense,
Yeah.
and B,
Nice.
this little love affair between LaFleur and that's just a stupid name to say, LaFleur. I just feel
LaFleur.
goofy. Matt LaFleur. But between him and Aaron Rodgers, it's been a great. Well, I don't want to say great because they've had their ups and downs, but the team overall, what are they? They're 5-1.
Yeah, 5-1 going into
and their one loss. Aaron Rodgers played really good. They just didn't have any sort of run game.
Right.
I mean, they had a chance to take the lead. I think he ended up throwing a game-losing interception, but they went for it 4 times on goal line, and not one was an attempt. So they're just that one little hiccup away from an undefeated season. Mike, if you were a bet, where are you putting your money? If we're assuming the Patriots are in, Patriots Saints, Patriots Packers, which do you think will you see? B, which would you rather see?
I'm going to go start off with what I would like to see. I would like to see 12 versus 12 again.
I think we want to.
Yeah.
I mean, you say it again, but I don't think we've ever seen it, unless you consider Matt Ryan.
Well, no.
No, Matt Ryan was – what number is Matt Ryan? He's not 12 because that's the new. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah. But like I would like to see Aaron versus Brady, just because Aaron Rodgers has been, quoted like the greatest player of like all time as well. So like, why not have the two greats go head to head in a possible last game of Tom Brady's career? But then on the other hand, you have Drew Brees there too. Drew Brees is highly underrated. Like, I think he has more passing yards than Tom Brady, by like 2,000 or 3,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, his stats are better.
Yeah.
But he's played in a more pass. If I think we talked about this with his awareness, Tom Brady, I think Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees are better passers.
Yeah.
I think if you had 10 seconds to get 50 yards, give me one of those two.
Give me Aaron Rodgers.
But if you give me a tie game, and got 5 minutes, or you give me a 1-point lead with 5 minutes, give me Tom Brady. Because that man's going to go on the right drive with no coach. No coach. I'm saying no coach calling the play.
Right.
Quarterback has to say, this is what I do best. Watch me do my thing. Give me Tom Brady in that situation.
If you are telling me to pick a team that can beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, I got to go with the Green Bay Packers because of what they have on the defensive side of the ball. Now, if you want a high-scoring affair, you got to get the Saints in there because, like, I'm not 100% sold on the Saints defense yet. Yes, they've been playing well the last couple weeks since Drew Brees has been hurt. What's this, week 3 or week 4 since like he's been hurt? They've been playing much improved, but I'm curious to see how they play when Drew Brees comes back after their bye week in 2 weeks.
I don't think Drew Brees will be rushing back the way Teddy B has been playing. I don't foresee him rushing back. We're going to hop into college football a little bit. I see we got on some tangents there. Look, this is the Matthew Lyle Show. There's no rhyme or reason. This is just me rambling on. Then Mike will chime in a little bit, usually contradict me in some way. But, hey, we're all here for it. Brees is the most accurate. Rodgers arguably the greatest mix of arm, accuracy, and mobility. And then they just haven't been. I mean, I think – I'm going to stay back. I'm going to circle back on the Patriots or on the NFL. I think if you're a Packers fan or a Colts fan, the reason you hate what the Patriots have done is because, and I picked those two franchises in particular, because what they've done has essentially been what you hoped for if you're a Packers fan or you're a Colts fan. Because Let's look at Tom Brady's career. He came in the 2000, won 3 Super Bowls, put up some decent numbers, tore his ACL, took a couple years to bounce back, then made it to 5 Super Bowls, won 3 more, put up a whole bunch of numbers, and that's what it looks like. If you're the Packers, that's what you expected Brett Favre transition into Aaron Rodgers. If you're the Colts, that's what you expected Peyton Manning transition into Andrew Luck. Now, the Packers did get one with Favre, and they did get one with Rodgers, but there was a big gap in between it, and the Colts were only able to muster up one with Peyton Manning, and Andrew Luck never quite got it done. So I think, yes, those teams will go down, but I kind of agreeing with what Cody was saying, but I also think it just kind of reminded me, if you're a Packers fan, I think it's more frustrating because you've had that greatness, really with Favre and Rodgers,
right? And
it's really resulted in a Super Bowl each. And then they got this whole Green Bay thing where they won 100 championships before they were Super Bowls. So I just think it's got to be frustrating. But I do agree with Cody. What's that smirk about?
I'll just because my aunt and uncle are huge Green Bay fans, and just like every time they don't win a Super Bowl or make it to the Super Bowl, it is like the world ends up there. Just because the Wisconsin area lives for football, they love their Packers, and just to see them only get 1 Super Bowl with Andrew or with Aaron, it just kind of brings a smile to
I just feel like I've never at any point looked and said, "Yep, that's a Super Bowl winning Packers team." I just don't get it. The year they won it, I think it came before or after a 15-1 season, a 14-2 season where it was an early loss. But we're going to hop into college football. It's really just a top heavy. Wisconsin lost to Illinois. Bama won, but they actually lost Tua. That could play some concerns. Mike, can you mute your mic for a little bit, Mike?
Sure.
That I don't know what it is. We'll figure it out. If you got something to say, feel free to hop in. It's just it gets louder, right? Like it feels like it's matching my voice. But yeah, if you got anything to say, you can definitely hop in. Don't let that. I'm just trying to clear the air through the mic. Tua, high ankle sprain, had surgery on it like the next day. Like, so they are not messing around. They got Arkansas this week, then they got a bye week, then they got that big LSU game. I don't know if you risk that, because if you lose to a long term, because I think Bama can actually lose to LSU, have LSU slip up or continue to win in a good enough fashion and still get the invite because they're Bama, but Bama gets no invite with no Tua. You look at around elsewhere, Clemson looked to be back on track, but that's against the Louisville defense. Louisville's looking a lot better. As much as I hate Louisville, they're looking much better. But they gave up 59 to Wake Forest, and they gave up, I think, 40 almost, or somewhere close to Boston College. So them giving up 45 to the Clemson team really didn't shock me much. Georgia played my Kentucky team, and it was a monsoon down there. Jake Fromm really didn't do anything, 35 yards in total. Ohio State obliterated a Northwestern game, and really all that happened in the Big Ten, Mike, was essentially the game next weekend, Wisconsin versus Ohio State, just got a little less intense because Wisconsin lost. Oklahoma still looks awesome down there because it's quarterback university. They just take transfers and they turn them into Heisman winners and they go undefeated in the Big 12 play. Right now, my playoffs is looking probably Bama, LSU, Ohio State, Oklahoma. I hate to leave Clemson out, but they showed a chart, Mike, at that Louisville game that their three toughest games, they had still a 90% chance of winning. And the ACC is soft. So could you imagine them playing a Virginia or a North Carolina in the ACC championship game? That is not going to impress the voters or the committee or whatever you want to call them. My Final Four, I hate to say it, you might actually get to see a one-loss SEC team over an undefeated Clemson team. And I don't know how they justify it. I mean, I think if you're able to put a level head on, you're able to justify it. But if you're not, if you're just screaming, I hate the SEC, it's overrated, you're not going to be able to justify it because they're national champions, returning most of their team, at least on the offensive side of the ball, and they go undefeated. But I don't believe that the committee does anything rigged. We talked about this a lot on remember Unpopular Opinion and other shows we did, Mike. I don't believe that the committee is rigged, but I do believe the committee likes to send messages. And the message I think we're seeing is the AP poll is greasing up the fans. They're greasing up the expectations that it's very likely that when that college football playoffs come out, Clemson might be number 4. You're probably going to have winner of Alabama, LSU. I don't know when those first rankings come out. Probably before that game. So there's a good chance you're going to have Alabama and LSU. Maybe even Florida if they continue to go undefeated. But I'm not drinking the Florida Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking the Gatorade, no pun intended. But you're probably going to have Oklahoma, and you're probably going to have them too. And then I think you probably have Ohio State above Oklahoma. You might actually have Clemson at 5. What's your thoughts on that, Mike? You're still muted.
I'm trying to process my thoughts here of Clemson not being in the Final Four because, like, I really feel like you have to reward last year a little bit, meaning like how they always let Alabama in some way, somehow, and they always seem to pull, like, you know, they always justify why they should have, you know, by like if Alabama sneaks in there, they win the championship. Like it kind of seems like, and I really feel like Clemson is a team that plays down to their opponents. So the reason why they're looking so bad right now is because they're playing down to the competition. Because the ACC is horrible. The ACC might be the worst conference in college football.
No,
I would even pick like a Big or like a Division II division over them almost.
I don't know about all that, but I get what you're saying. And I do think there is some validity to what you're saying, Mike. But the problem is, and this is what they preach. Now, whether or not they've done it, because you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head with Alabama. They kind of get this pity. They get, well, you showed us we're wrong. You're automatically invited. But the committee says every week in the college football playoffs. But so Cody says Clemson will show up in January. What if they don't get a chance to show up in January? You know what I'm saying? You can only show your moves at the dance if you got invited to the dance. If they mess around, and to Mike's point, plays down to competition because that's the only direction they can play. Pretty much for the rest of their season, it's playing down because there's nobody to play up to. It's just playing down and hoping you don't take L's. And the moment you take an L, Mike, they're about to drop out of the top 10 because that whole schedule is atrocious from this point on. I mean, look, they beat Florida State 45 to something, dropped a spot. Turn around and beat Louisville 45-3, maybe 10. I don't know. They might have got a late touchdown. Dropped a spot. I mean, they're sending a message, and that message might be hard to take, but that message tells me now the only way this message plays out is if either Florida runs the tables and it's a great SEC championship game, or LSU loses a close one to Alabama. Because I think even if Alabama loses, even with no Tua, they don't have a whole lot of wins on that schedule. But LSU has a couple of top wins. If LSU loses close to Bama, Bama dominates all the way through the season. Bama dominates the SEC championship. Ohio State dominates the Big Ten, including a Wisconsin win, including a Michigan win, including a Big Ten championship. You got Oklahoma beating a very highly ranked Baylor, probably beating Texas or Baylor for the Big 12 championship. And then you got Clemson just ho-humming around. I think, honestly, if you like chaos, I think you're going to get chaos. If you don't like chaos, if you're like, you know what, I get this like this sometimes, Mike. I just like, I don't want to hear people's bullshit. I don't want to hear it, so I'm just going to root for this team to win. Because I know that if this happens, there's just going to be this erroneous excuses. You know, as a Patriots fan, sometimes I'm like, I just kind of wish the Patriots would not make the Super Bowl, because if we lose in the Super Bowl, you're going to hear nothing but bullcrap. And if you win the Super Bowl, you hear all this cheating stuff, even though the Patriots really haven't been accused of anything since like 3 Super Bowls ago. So, what did I say, honestly? No, I agree, Cody. And that's why I'm saying Clemson really doesn't. But if you're somebody who doesn't want this chaos, if you don't want this forest of college football playoffs set on fire, you just need Clemson to lose. You need Clemson to stumble against North Carolina State or Boston College or whoever the heck's left on that schedule, because I'm telling you, Mike, I can see it clear as day. Bama wins on a field goal. Bama falls through, whacks everybody. LSU whacks everybody. Oklahoma, Ohio State just continue doing what they're doing because they're putting up absurd numbers. Because you can say, okay, Ohio State and Oklahoma hasn't played anybody, but they making those nobodies look like nobodies. They're actually making those somewhat somebodies look like nobodies. That's what you kind of expect. Bama, okay, everybody wants to laugh. Bama's giving up 24 points to Ole Miss. They're putting up 60 out here. Like, this is anti-Bama. And this is what the college football playoffs want to see. They want to see Tua and Jalen Hurts go at it. They want to see a college basketball game break out. I'm just thinking if Clemson doesn't get it together and if no hiccups happen, don't be surprised to see an undefeated sitting at the house. Well,
so I can kind of see
– but
yeah, like I can kind of see what you're saying here. So let's say all the undefeated teams play Amish and they go undefeated. You have an undefeated Penn State team, you have an undefeated Oklahoma team, Clemson, Ohio State, and then the winner of Alabama, LSU. Let's just say
I think
Alabama
Penn State and Ohio State would play each other. I don't think you would get both undefeated.
Okay. So let's say
Ohio State
beat Penn State and Alabama beats LSU. Okay. Who do you think is in the Final Four of those? I believe it would be 6 undefeated teams. We have Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Oklahoma. Well, actually, there's just 4. Would all those 4
that's
make
what I'm saying.
To the playoffs?
If LSU's only loss comes from Bama, I think LSU's in.
Think so.
LSU has that Texas win. LSU has
over
that
who?
Auburn win.
Clemson.
Over Clemson, yeah. Because that's the thing. Like, Clemson's best win came against Texas A&M. And what you're going to have is you're going to have an LSU team and a Bama team that both waxed Texas A&M. So when Clemson comes to you and says, look what I offers you up to the college football gods, look what I've given you, they're going to look at it and say, Bama gave us better. They're going to look at you and say, LSU gave us better. And they're going to look at you and say, Ohio State and Oklahoma wasn't even tried. I don't know. I mean,
this season has all the makings of the season a couple years ago when LSU beat Alabama in the regular season. LSU played Georgia in the championship game. Georgia beat LSU. LSU got left out of the college football playoff, and it was Alabama-Georgia. I see all the makings of this happening again. Like, let's say LSU beats Alabama, and then Florida beats LSU in the championship. LSU gets left out again. Alabama's in.
Now, if that happens, I don't see Florida getting in over a Clemson. I just don't think Florida has that kind of speed and momentum because
with
Florida's
the SEC championship.
Yeah, well, I mean, so Florida beat Alabama. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
No.
Florida beats LSU in the SEC championship.
Oh, so LSU beat
because
Bama.
LSU beat Bama in the regular season.
Oh, any SEC championship's getting in. That's actually, in my opinion, the worst scenario because that probably means
3 SEC teams in.
No, that'd be a great scenario. I think that's what it's going to take to get to 8 teams. I think you're going to have to get to 8 teams. You're going to have to get 3 teams. You're going to have to piss off everybody to the nth degree enough that the college football players say, or the college football playoff committee says, you know what, fine, here's your 8 teams. But
what is the only way that an SEC championship does not, or a SEC champion does not get into the college football playoff? Is it a 2-loss Florida team wins SEC? A 3-loss Florida team?
Well, I don't think Florida has that many opportunities for. Maybe they do. Maybe, but the problem is that's actually your less scenario because just Bama has such a chokehold on that I could see that, but I think you're still getting an SEC team in. I think whoever, if your scenario happened, Mike, if LSU beat Bama and then Florida had 3 losses and beat LSU, which that's probably the most likely scenario, I think Bama gets in. I think they're going to look at LSU, say you lost into the SEC championship. That actually might still just let 2 in. I don't know. I mean, that'd be very interesting. I just don't see Nick Saban just does too good of job not losing those games unless a team just plays out of its mind, a la Deshaun Watson 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I think, and then Trevor Lawrence last year. But typically, Nick Saban does a really good job of having his guys ready there. So
let's say Oklahoma goes undefeated into the Big 12 championship and they lose to a Texas, or I think Iowa State still has a chance of getting into the Big 12 championship as well. And then Oklahoma loses. Does a 1-loss Oklahoma team get in?
See, now you're getting into a lot of the iffy territory because I don't know if, as much as I just told you, Mike, that the committee tries to start fresh. I don't think secretly they don't want Big 12 to have that kind of draw.
We are all humans at the end of the day, and we've seen what Alabama does in the playoffs. They win in the playoffs. We've seen what Clemson does the last couple of years. They win in the playoffs. How can you let those 2 teams out?
I don't know. What if Auburn beats both? Cody, I think they'd have to win the SEC championship too, because Auburn has 1 loss, 2 loss. I have to check. I mean, Auburn's still in play. There's still a lot of SEC that Cody brought it up 2 points ago. There's still a lot of SEC teams in play there.
Yeah, Auburn is sitting at 5-1, and they're currently ranked 7th in the coaches poll. If that means anything.
Mike, I can only give you the one wild scenario, and that's those 5 teams involved. You start incorporating other 1-losses teams. I think if Oklahoma or Ohio State loses, I think that's how Clemson gets in undefeated. I think that's how Clemson gets in. They just say, okay, because pretty much anybody but Bama, you get that excuse, Mike, or maybe even LSU.
So what you're saying, the only way you get Clemson into the Final Four and to the playoff is if everybody in the SEC loses one game?
No, they just need it to be justifiable to the markets. And it sounds weird, but like if you just think about it, what sounds sexy? LSU kind of, and only Mike, if that LSU Bama game is good.
Right.
If the LSU Bama game is a blowout and Bama runs away with it, this isn't a discussion.
I don't even know where that game's at.
It has to. I think it's Tuscaloosa. It has to be something that the committee can pretty much give to the TV contract people and say, voila, and still not get absurd amount of pushback. You're always going to get pushback because you have 5 power conferences and only 4 playoff spots, but you kind of want to balance that. So, for example, a 1 or 2 loss Auburn, Florida doesn't sound sexy.
Yeah,
but 1 loss Oklahoma sounds sexy enough as long as there's not undefeated Clemson in front of them or behind them.
See, and I think a 1-loss Oklahoma will jump Clemson simply because of the strength of schedule of I'm not saying the Big 12 is the best conference, but they are a pretty good conference. They got Texas, they got Iowa State, they got a Baylor team that's really underrated. They're flying under under the radar. So, I mean, you can easily this could possibly be the year that if Texas wins out and then wins the Big 12, beating an undefeated Oklahoma team, you could quite possibly see 2 Big 12 teams.
I don't think you'll ever see 2 Big 12 teams. Not like this. You're not going to get a 2-loss Texas team. I just don't think. I mean, we've seen the NCAA committee or the college football committee disrespect the Big 12 enough with undefeated with TCU a couple years ago.
Right.
I don't think you're going to see a 2-loss Texas team because sometimes. We talked about this earlier, Mike. Sometimes they just like to go the path of least resistance, and I think they did it last year.
I think SEC has a bigger fan base than anybody else, so why not?
And I don't think last year Notre Dame deserved to get in, but I don't think they wanted to set that precedent of you're undefeated with a couple of legit wins, and we leave you out when you're a school like Notre Dame. That, to your point, and not to flip-flop, because I truly think that Clemson could be left out. I really think there's a really good chance. But that was what would save Clemson.
Right.
Is because sometimes in court, when you go to when somebody breaks the law, you hear all these controversial court cases. So-and-so got away with this or so-and-so did this. A lot of times, if we strip away all the extra pizzazz, if we strip away all the noise around it, a lot of times in lawyer cases and judge cases and court cases, it's a case of precedent that if A happened to B, we need that to always equal C. And what the NCAA or what the College Football Committee, I keep saying that the NCAA has no bearing of the College Football Committee. The College Football Committee, what I think they did not want it to be is giving you a case where A plus B did not equal C, where talented team, big name, big fan base, plus undefeated resume equals miss. Even though we saw Notre Dame get waxed, I did not think we argued about this a lot, Mike.
Yeah,
I did not think Notre Dame deserved a spot. But you get big name, undefeated season has to equal college football playoffs because once that equation's broken, then you get what we talked about, Mike, a 4-loss Bama team, a 3-loss Bama team with a 2-loss Oklahoma team and a 1-loss Ohio State team getting in over 2 undefeated teams.
Yeah.
Because now what you're saying is, well, my eye told me they were good. You know what I'm saying? Now you start getting into subjective territory, and fans hate subjective territory.
That's why we did not like the BCS.
Right. Well, Bama lost 3 games, but this guy was sick on that day. That guy, because we even know if Bama lost 3 games, there's still a good chance they're going to win the title. But it's subjective. Fans don't like it. That doesn't end well. So the only thing I think would save Clemson is that little formula. Is that you went undefeated, you got a big name on the side of your helmet, voila, college football playoffs.
So I'm hoping for the most epic failure of the college playoff this year. Like I want Penn State to lose a game. I want Ohio State to lose a game. I want Bama, LSU, Oklahoma. I want all those teams to lose one game. I want Clemson to go undefeated and then see Clemson get totally waxed in the first round just to show, hey, just because you got one loss doesn't mean you don't deserve to be in the playoff whatsoever. Because I truly think that we could really benefit from an 8-team playoff, because like people say, well, why don't you just go 16 then? Because like pretty much after that 8, like there is a division, you know, like you have your tier 1, and you have like your kind of tier 1.5. So I mean, like those top 8, so you could easily have a great tournament with those 8 teams with 8 or with, you know,
but what I will say is one thing the BCS did not do, and kind of just look around the landscape, Mike. NBA, what did people get tired of saying? What did people say they got tired of seeing? Warriors, Cavs. People said, oh, I'm tired of seeing Warriors, Cavs, part 1, 2, 3, 4. What did people say when the season started? I'm Thompson. If you get into 8, as much as I want to see 8, what you're guaranteeing pretty much, Mike, is a tale of two scenes, a tale of just a 2-team scenario. Because if the BCS system was in play, I don't know if we would have got Bama Clemson more than once, maybe twice.
I don't think so. I think you would have saw like another game sneak in
because
there.
the BCS, if you just look purely 1s and 2s, I don't know how many times it's been Bama Clemson. I think one time Clemson was like a 3, and they got, you know, and Bama was a 4.
Was it Bama 4 seed when they won the championship? Yeah.
Zweites Portemonnaie nur für Coupons und Kundenkarten.
Kann man machen, muss man aber nicht. Lad dir einfach die Lidl Plus App und erhalte nach jedem Einkauf gratis Rubbellos-Coupons. Lidl Plus, deine digitale Kundenkarte zum Extrasparen. Jetzt App runterladen. Lidl lohnt sich.
Microphone check. Hey, this is the world's most popular barbecue talk, barbershop talk, man cave conversation. However you like it or dislike it, this is the heavyweight champ of your sports talk radio. This is your opinionated facts. These are your hosts. Myself, B-Way, is in the building. To the right of me, I have Mr. Jacklin Ruiz.
You.
To the left of me, I have Mr. Red in the building.
Yeah, that's right. I like that. Mr. Red.
Because we throw a Mr. in front of it this time.
That was nice.
Hey, and this is one of your first shows of Opinionated Facts podcast that we normally do, but right now we're doing it for the radio fans of the world. How's everybody doing today? Good?
Doing good, feeling good. Rejuvenated.
Hey, rejuvenated. That's a good word.
That was a terrible word. That's great at this age, man. I want to be rejuvenated. I feel good, got some good rest, and just back at it, ready for another week here.
So talking about rejuvenation, I don't think the Ravens were rejuvenated after their 2 weeks off of the playoffs when they finally made their appearance. How do you guys feel about the Ravens and how they came out and looked this past weekend?
Big trust. It's not. I don't know. It's a fine line you walk with that. You earn the right to rest your players. 14-2, right?
Yes.
14-2. You're not going to play them the final week of the regular season because if they get hurt, then you look like an idiot. So resting them, rest versus rust. I didn't. Mark Ingram. He got that injury, bad timing, and it snowballed. I don't know. It sucks. I mean, but it happens, and it doesn't take anything away from Lamar Jackson's great year. He's still the MVP. Still put up his numbers, and it's a team sport. I mean, the team didn't show up. It wasn't just one player that caused them to lose yesterday.
I think we put too much stock into them being rusty. These guys played for 16 straight weeks.
Not counting preseason and
exactly, and not counting training camp, preseason, like taking 2 weeks off out of 18, 19 weeks of going straight through heavy. I don't think rust could be the excuse. You guys are professional athletes.
That's just what people automatically go to.
Exactly, I understand.
And they look at your record, and you're 14-2, and you're sitting here getting manhandled by 9-17. I mean, it's just, but that's what it is. We want to. Football at the end of the day is mano a mano. If a team wants to run the ball down your throat and you don't stop them, they're gonna keep doing it. So it's 2020, and we want to get fancy and have all these different air raid offenses. and passing the ball 50, 60 times a game. At the end of the day, if you can run the ball, control the clock, play decent defense, you find yourself in the AFC Championship game like the Titans.
I think if anyone could use the rest, it's a team that ran for 3,200 yards in the regular season.
Right.
Like if anyone could use the rest, Lamar Jackson could have. The guy's been taking a pounding all year. He's a running quarterback. He's sliding a lot. He's running a lot. He's all over the place. He's getting hit. He's getting hit after the whistle. Ingram, they played even in the first week. Ingram would have been out of that game. He wouldn't have been able to go. So them even having the bye week was almost a blessing for those guys. So they're professional athletes. It's a professional team. There's no rush after 2 weeks of not doing something. They were still practicing. They were still on the field at times. They weren't just at home on the couch for 2 straight weeks not doing anything.
Like I said, I think it hurts you more on defense at the game speed, of going game speed. Like when Tannehill threw that bomb, the 47-yard pass to the wideout, them DBs looked like they didn't see nothing that fast in weeks. And I thought that caught them off guard. I was like, okay, let's wake up and play football.
That was Marlon Humphrey. And what he said after the game about them choking, he should have said, he choked, not them. Like he says the whole team as a whole, the entire organization has choked last year and this year. And he said what he said.
He said what he said.
But, you're out there getting beat on double moves like you choked.
Yeah,
so I felt like he should have took the responsibility, like, you know what, I choked it, I had a terrible game or whatever. But no, instead he throws everyone under the bus. Lamar Jackson, Ingram, the coaches, everybody.
But what do you think to the people on Twitter? I read an argument on Twitter this past week, and right after the game where they said you can't win a Super Bowl with an athletic quarterback.
No, I heard worse. They were joking. Like the Ravens really thought they were going to win the Super Bowl with a Wildcat quarterback.
Yeah,
and that's disrespectful at this point. Like he's more than that, but it's a stigma. Until it happens, Randall Cunningham didn't win one. Michael Vick, Steve Young won one. I mean, but at that age, at that point, he wasn't what he was early in his career.
Young to throw the ball around, but Lamar Jackson can. Like Lamar got a rifle for an arm.
Lamar can throw the ball.
It just hasn't happened. So until it happens, people are going to make their jokes. But that's Twitter. You're going to get your jokes off, and some of them are funny, and that's the nature of the game. That's the nature of the beast.
So we're all in agreement that it don't matter if you're an athletic quarterback.
No, at the end of it, it's not that there's a lot of luck involved. Like some plays will hit this week that didn't hit last week, and next thing you got a touchdown. Like Ryan Tannehill, he played a decent game. Like
at the end of the day, the Titans were impressive. They were. Like I don't want to take anything away from those guys. Like Baltimore was this, Baltimore was that, Baltimore lost the game. No, Titans won the game,
and what they're going to do.
They went and got it. They came. They said we're going to give the ball to Derrick Henry 30 times, and he ran for almost 200 yards, 195 yards. What can you do?
Like, I mean, we all coach football here outside of Mr. Jacklison.
Used to. Jack
is a former coach. But if you can run the football from midget league up until the NFL, you're going to have a shot at winning the game because it moves the sticks and it keeps the clock rolling. And if you can't stop the run, you're going to have you're going to have hard times losing. So it's just what it is at that point. But to go back, I don't think that game was lost in any fashion anyway to Lamar Jackson.
But with the win, you get the praise. With the loss, you get the blame.
Lamar, if you get rid of the score and you look at Lamar's stats yesterday, you go minus the turnovers, so you see he had by himself 500 yards total offense, 498, I believe. He had 365 yards passing. He had 143 yards rushing.
Yes.
You see that, you're like, he dominated.
Yes.
He had a touchdown passing. But then you see 3 turnovers, so you got to go look at the numbers again. He had 3 turnovers himself as well. They were hurtful. Yes. These turnovers were hurtful. These weren't just like, oh, you're trying to make a play at the end of the game. No, these things happen in crucial times. And I don't want to say he lost. He didn't lose the game because he put it all. I think he left it all out there. This wasn't his night. And the Titans were impressive. The Titans were prepared to play that team.
They were.
They prepared as well as you could prepare for Lamar Jackson, Ingram, and that offense. So whatever Grable did in that time, they were prepared. They came out prepared.
They stopped the best rushing attack in football on 4th and 1 twice.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Twice.
That's impressive.
So it's definitely the Titans earned the victory over the Ravens losing it. Like the Titans won it.
So we go back to the question. Like we're going to go to this question because I've asked you this before we came on here. What was more impressive? The Titans beating the Ravens or the 49ers winning, which I think they were supposed to do. The Niners handled business. They did what they were supposed to do. There was nothing impressive about them. But I think you disagree. You think that they were impressive as well. Who was more impressive?
You just gauge it off of who the Vikings beat. Like the Niners Saints game was probably the best game of the year. So they battled tooth and nail, and you thought that was inevitably going to happen again in the playoffs. But the Saints at home blew it. So you thought that the Vikings were at a different level this week going into it, and it was just matchups, and they didn't really have anything for the Niners yesterday. But the Niners were supposed to win that game yesterday, so I don't really add more to it than what it was. Like they were a home favorite and they handled business. I mean, 27-10, right? I think.
And that's the biggest misconception when you say impressive, because the Niners were supposed to win. But I don't think they were supposed to win as they won. Like they dominated the game on the defensive front. They held one of the best rushing attacks in football to be non-existent.
The Vikings are 9-17.
Yes.
They're not very good. We all knew that.
But what they do, the bread and butter with Cook was neutralized. I mean, and that's games.
That's what happens in playoff football. You find a way to neutralize things that you otherwise would not find a way to do so. But the 49ers defense has been great all year. We weren't surprised by how their defense played. I wasn't. I wasn't surprised or shocked or impressed by how their defense played because they've been playing that way all year.
They've been dominant, but they haven't been this dominant. The Vikings didn't convert.
How dominant? They were playing the Vikings.
The Vikings didn't convert a first down on the ground. They were 2 for 12 on the third downs, including 0 for 6 in the second half.
Sounds like a team that was dominated. Good defense.
They played against a team that they played against a dominant defense, not just a normal defense. That's what makes this so impressive. It was a dominating performance.
We're talking about Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook. Like Dalvin Cook is a legit running back in this league, yes. But Kirk Cousins is borderline bum status.
Oh my God.
He's borderline bum status.
This is disrespectful, man.
He's borderline bum status.
He's trying to rewrite his narrative, and I get it. You know, borderline bum. Yeah, he hasn't won a Monday night game.
Whoa, I don't agree with borderline bum. He's a sufficient quarterback.
He's rewriting his status. Like him going into New Orleans and winning that game is letting you know at age 30, I think, that Kirk Cousins he's dependable to a certain. Like if he would have won yesterday, then you kind of forget everything is like. But you are what you are, and his record in primetime games and in playoff games is not that good. So if you're half nice, you're half whack. So borderline bum is kind of fits because he's not a bum, but he's there and he's in those big moments when you want your quarterback, who's one of the highest paid, guaranteed money.
He signed one of the highest paid quarterback deals in recent memory.
Exactly.
2 years
you want
ago.
to be able to put the ball in his hands and say, go out there and win us this game. And it's hard to do against an elite defense like the Niners have.
He did it last week against the Saints.
But again, he got so much praise.
There's a difference there in defenses.
And he didn't do it last week. He threw a game-winning touchdown. That's why he got all the accolades. But same thing Eli Manning did in the Super Bowl. He threw it up the Plaxico Burrs, Purge one got it, and Eli got all the accolades. Oh, he drove him down, he did this.
And Eli's going to be a Hall of Famer.
And he is. And he shouldn't be.
Oh, my God. Eli's not a Hall of Famer?
Eli Manning?
Yes. He's the only Eli in sports.
The only Hall of Famer I know is Booker Eli, Denzel Washington. That's the only Hall of Famer I know that should be in the Hall of Fame. That's Denzel.
You are crazy,
Eli
man.
Manning.
You're saying borderline bums. What's above bum? Average?
Bum is somebody I can't trust come playoff time.
So
like if you got to game manage around him, if you're winning in spite of him.
It said in spite of him.
In spite of him. Like he's not really adding anything to your victory. If Dalvin Cook is the reason, you get to give like the Titans. Tannehill.
I'm glad you brought him up. I don't mean to cut you off. Right back to what you're saying. Borderline bum is Tannehill in Miami. Go ahead.
I agree. But
what's above bum? Average?
A bum?
No, like if we're rating our rating scale here, we have bum, and then we have.
I
what's
wanted
next?
to hear what he was saying though. He was getting.
We're gonna get back to that.
I lost it.
No, we can't get back to that. No, you can't lose it, man. You were
35.
Yo,
is
you were
different,
going
man.
somewhere with that. I thought it was
You
so
shouldn't
important.
You shouldn't have cut me
I'm
off.
sorry, man. I wanted to, because he brought Tannehill up. I wanted to say Tannehill in Miami was a bum.
It was
And
bad
I wish
coaching. It was
now
bad
that it happened, I wish I wouldn't have did it. I
At
apologize.
35 is different. It leaves your head.
Yeah, I should have let you finish the thought, but I would have.
Going with the
At
win.
33, I would have lost it. I would have lost it too if I didn't get rid of it. I would have lost it.
So it's just not really a game manager, because a game manager you can win. Like Brady was a game manager early on in the dynasty. Like, so that's not a bad thing, but it's just he's 30 now. He is what he is. Kirk Cousins isn't going to evolve into something different. But if he can't do what you ask of him, he's throwing. I don't know how many interceptions he had yesterday. If he's throwing out there throwing interceptions, being sloppy with the ball, and you're putting they limped into that game. They tried out Terrence Newman for that game?
Yeah.
Like
41-year-old.
You know how things are bad if you're trying out Terrence Newman for your corner for a playoff game? So, like, they limped into that. They lost their starting corners, and they did the best they could do. And it just didn't work out in their favor. But Kirk Cousins, borderline bum, is not a disrespectful thing. It's just, like, I don't know how to break it down for you. It's just, there's elite, there's good, there's great, and then there's that,
There's elite, there's great, good, average, bum.
And so he's between average and bum.
I think he's average.
He's not.
No. Average can win you a Super Bowl.
Average is Trent Dilfer for the Ravens.
Are you talking about
Game manager Trent Dilfer for the Ravens.
Tannehill or Kirk Cousins? Who are you taking?
Tannehill. Right now.
Tannehill. He's more athletic and he can do more things. So
Right now.
I'm taking Tannehill, as you can
Tannehill.
see. And the Titans are putting them in good positions.
That is very interesting. And you know what? Listen, we're going to get to this, but let's go pay some bills real quick, and then we're going to come back and continue this conversation. You guys are crazy. Welcome back. You guys are listening to the Opinionated Facts on the Sports Talk Channel radio station. Hey, before we left, you guys were talking a little reckless. When you say that Tannehill, who could barely rub two nickels together in Miami, is now better than Kirk Cousins, who just took his team to back-to-back playoff appearances.
You asked me who I was taking.
Yes.
I said, right now, the guy that's going to the next round, taking Tannehill. Tannehill took care of business. He didn't put his team in a position to lose the game. He did everything to win the game.
He played well this weekend, yes.
He played last weekend. He played well.
Jack,
He's not losing you nothing. That's my point. He's not.
if he don't have a back there that he can hand it to and go for 195,
But
then
Kirk
yes.
Cousins does have a back
And he
there.
finds a way to mess it up.
Kirk Cousins has a back there on the same level as Derrick Henry.
He's not on the same level as Derrick Henry. He's good. He's a very good running back. Like Derrick Henry is a grown
Derrick
man.
Henry in fantasy leagues usually gets drafted second, third round. Dalvin's one of those guys who goes top 10.
Derrick Henry will be a
Because
first.
we know what Dalvin's bringing.
Well, if it's a
Derrick Henry
PPR league, you're going to get Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry
you're
shows
gonna get
flashes of greatness.
Yes.
He's not a consistent guy. He's one of those guys that'll get you 48 yards, and he's one of those guys that'll get you 204 yards. He might go 5 weeks in a row where he don't rush for more than 50 yards in a game. And he'll bust one off for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns out of nowhere. You're like, oh my God. Pure domination.
You guys are crazy.
Talking about crazy, you said that the Vikings made the playoffs 2 years in a row. They didn't. They didn't make the playoffs last year.
That was the year before.
That was the year before when they...
With Case Keenum. Case
Keenum made the miracle throwing.
They didn't make the playoffs last year probably because of Kirk Cousins. So that adds to our argument.
Anyway.
All right, man. So, I got a question for you guys. Things been bothering me. I'm going to get off of this. I'm going to get off of this whole playoff situation and talk about the Vikings lost Saturday, and they looked terrible doing it. Offensively, they looked terrible doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And less than 24 hours after they look like trash on the field. Their OC gets a head coaching job. Gets the Cleveland Browns head coaching job. Stefanski.
So the deal was done. They just wanted to wait till the game.
The
game was over.
So what I'm getting at here is there's some good minority coaches out there.
Yes.
They don't seem to get the same opportunities. I don't want to sound like a racist. So you always have to be careful what you say. But they don't seem to get the same opportunities that the Caucasian coaches seem to be getting, even when they're not very good.
Yes.
They seem to be getting passed over.
Completely agree.
Do we
see this as being an issue?
It's beyond an issue. The Rooney Rule has become a joke in the NFL, but it's going to take these minorities that are in a certain position. It's like, let's use Marvin Lewis as an example. If you know you have no chance to get the Cowboys job, don't go in for that interview. That says something without saying anything. So, you use Marvin Lewis as your token black guy that you're going to bring in for give him a free steak dinner and a 15-minute interview just to bypass a certain rule. We're not making any progress.
Yeah, I say that. I mean, I hear that, but as a coach, when
you're worried about your next job, but it's just like to make that headline and say Marvin Lewis refused to take Cowboys interview because he knew he wasn't a real candidate. And they were just doing it for the Rooney Rule. That makes the Cowboys look bad. That makes the NFL look bad.
It's not just that, though. You think your day is coming one time, and you think these interviews are going to prepare you for that. So whether you got a shot at the job or not, you still want that interview because you want that experience. But you want to understand how to handle it when your shot really does come. It's just, you see these over and over again. It's like minorities in life, we have to do more. Yeah. The same position that, our white co-workers or white, your resume looks so much better, but they find some reason because they're looking more times than not, you're going into interview, it's with a white person, and they're going to they find something in that person that they see in themselves. They might not see that with you. So you see success stories. Like, I'm not going to act dumb and act like I wanted to laugh when I saw who the Giants hired because I don't know who he is. I feel like but it comes from good stock. That's not the point. That's not the point. Joe Judge was a special teams wide receiver coach, and hell of a job, attention to details. I mean, no head coaching, no play calling duties, and he got the job because he probably interviewed well. But at the same time, you have a John Harbaugh. Thank you. You see John Harbaugh, success story, special teams coach with the Eagles, and he goes on to win Super Bowl, and he had the best team in the AFC this year, and he's been a constant success. But you don't see a black coach get that opportunity as a special teams coach. Black coach got to get opportunity. They got to be Marvin Lewis running one of the best defenses of all time. You got to have the 2000 Ravens on your resume to get a head coaching job. Yes. So that sucks. Eric Bieniemy, I don't know the exact numbers. Eric Bieniemy, since he's been the offensive coordinator, the the Chiefs have been putting a lot of points up. So to me, the offensive coordinator should get, even though we know Andy Reid has a lot of say in that, offensive coordinator should get credit for that. So Eric Bieniemy keeps getting passed up for jobs, and it's like, what else does he have to do? Joe Judge is just like, because he's the understudy to Bill Belichick, let's give him a shot. Eric Bieniemy, NFL player. Judge is a way understudy too. Like, he was a receivers coach, right? But he has five rings to his resume already. So he had 2 at Alabama and he has 3 with the Patriots. So it's kind of like, it's not, you get mad and it's like you want to get upset at it, but it's like it keeps happening and it's like you want to know why. I'm not upset with it at all. It's not upset, but like, why can't I see Eric Bieniemy get this shot? Why can't I see Deuce Staley at this point should get a shot? And I don't think Deuce deserves one yet. He should get an offensive coordinator position. I don't Deuce deserve one. Because he hasn't called plays. He's number one. The Judge guy didn't call plays. Number one. Doug Peterson, who played with Deuce, hasn't even given him a shot. So why would somebody else give him a shot? If your own guy, that's supposed to be your man, don't give you a shot, why the heck would anybody else? Someone's got to show faith in him first. I don't think Deuce wants to be a coordinator. Andy Reid shows faith in Eric Bieniemy. But Andy Reid also has gotten Matt Nagy where he's at. He's also gotten Doug Peterson where he's at. So my question I think it's more Andy Reid. So my question to that would be, why would you not go back to the Chiefs and interview Eric Bieniemy?
Because they're in this process where anyone is having dinner with Todd McVay or getting these jobs. Like, because he was such a hot commodity a year ago.
Sean.
It was like Sean McVay. Sorry, Sean McVay. Todd McVay was a Unabomber, wasn't he? Was he the bomber? Sorry, Sean McVay. He's
Oklahoma City Bomber.
Oklahoma City Bomber. He was. That's right. That's who the bomber was. Sorry. But at that, like last year, anyone that had coffee with that guy was getting a job.
Yes.
The NFL is like that. It goes in spurts. It's like
this
coach is hot, but his whole staff gets a job somewhere.
But it never goes.
This coach is hot, his old job. I think maybe they might be off the Andy Reid wave right now because now you have Pat Mahomes that looks every bit of MVP anytime he wants to. It's like, is it Eric Bieniemy now? Because we've seen these other guys do it too.
But they went off and did good things. Yes.
That's successful, yeah.
It's not like they went off and failed like many other coaches.
How many minority coaches we have right now in the NFL? I want to say 4.
4. I think it's 4.
Ron Rivera, Flores, Lynn from San Diego. I think his last name is Lynn.
Anthony Lynn.
And who's the 4th? Ron Rivera.
Ron.
Ron Rivera, Flores, Lynn, Tomlin.
Yeah.
Okay. So why can't we ever see a spurt where we're just hiring minorities?
Well,
because you like the cut of his jib, like that. I just like the way he shook my hand and I hired the black coach. That doesn't.
We're letting people off the hook here too. Like we're letting owners off the hook.
We are.
We're saying like the NFL. Like NFL is responsible for this, but
no, it's owners.
The owners are hiring these guys. And they don't know who these minority coaches are.
Or the head coaches. The head coaches are hiring their staff normally.
And sometimes, unless you're Jerry Jones,
unless you work at the
given
Cowboys.
an opportunity to pick your own staff.
Yes.
And then Jerry, when the last time he hired anyone minority?
Jerry,
and he gets a free pass on everything this guy does. Not that he has to hire a minority to please anybody, but I mean, he went after McCarthy. Does McCarthy necessarily deserve it? I don't know. I think McCarthy's a decent coach.
Well, it's not. You're right. McCarthy's good. That was a good hire. But our issue comes from, and I say the minority issue comes from the ranks. Like, we're not climbing up the rank successfully. Like, we have 2 offensive coordinators that are black, which is Eric Bieniemy and Byron Leftwich.
We got Caldwell out there. His name was mentioned for the Eagles.
Byron Leftwich is not very good.
That's not true.
I don't agree. I just
Winston
don't think
put up decent numbers.
But he also threw 30 picks.
That's on Winston.
But because he's thrown the ball 500 times.
Hey,
make better decisions, man. Throw the ball away. You don't have to fit it in that tight pocket.
You got to learn that from somebody. He's still a young guy. He's still learning.
It's not just coach. That's the thing. We get stuck on coaches, man. Like there's no in the front office.
You can tell because great coaches that take a good player and make him great.
I agree, but I'm saying in general, in front offices, how many black GMs are there? I can't say, not that that's a glory position, but it is, not to us. The normal fan doesn't know, might not even know who their team's GM is.
I don't even know, I'm even saying black. I'm saying minorities.
Minorities. It would be nice to see a representation matters, and it's just, you don't see it, and you don't really see, you see it in the NBA, not really.
I mean, it's frustrating when the league is 80% minority. 70% minority. And the coaches are, and I'm talking head coaches and assistant coaches combined, are probably 10%.
I mean, the NBA is moving towards, I feel like maybe the next 10 years they'll have a female head coach. Like Sue Bird is with the Spurs, and they keep mentioning her name. Will it happen? I don't know.
Head coach, I doubt. Do you want to be the guy that takes that chance at the first time?
What?
The hire is the first female, and it's a disaster.
It's no worse. It's no worse than hiring a disaster that's a guy.
Exactly. How many guys have failed?
Man.
I mean, a lot of men have failed.
I remember.
It's going to be different when your first female.
Magic Johnson was awful.
It's going to be different. That thing going to ring a little different.
It's not going to be different.
Like, can you imagine if the guy from
let's use the Spurs as an example. Great organization, championship organization. If they took a chance and hired a female coach and it failed miserably, I don't think anybody would. What's the reason it failed? That'd be different. But if it's what's the worst organization in your mind, the NBA?
Cleveland Cavaliers.
No, not at all.
Cleveland. Let's say Cleveland. No, they won championships.
You're just saying that because you're a LeBron fan and Bron was there
for that reason. But you just can't throw that out there because they've been good for years. We want to talk about someone that's been like terrible for years.
It's been good because they had the best player in the world.
What I'm saying, we're talking about people like Sacramento Kings, Phoenix Suns type that haven't been good for years.
There we go, Phoenix. If Phoenix hires a female coach and it blows up in their face, then that would probably be looked at differently. But in the NBA, it's wash, rinse, repeat, where you see the team hire a coach, you never even heard of the guy, and then next thing you know, a year or two later, he gets fired and he's an assistant again, and the process gets repeated. So if it's a woman, you don't really see, outside of black head coaches, you don't see any other minorities represented in basketball or baseball, different. But
females in sports get a raw deal.
Yes.
I mean, even from us at times.
You're right. Like coaching wise, like I don't understand. Like you said in basketball, like, do you want to be that first person? Like it's not a big deal. Like if
I'm saying in any sport. I meant like any male sport, any male dominated sport, so basketball, NBA or NFL.
Yes.
Do you want to be that first person that gives out that first female job? Like, hey, do you want this head coaching job? And then you got guys in the locker room that don't respect her because there's going to be some.
Not to get political, but we can see, like Hillary Clinton was the most qualified candidate we had to be president for a long time.
I don't agree with that.
She wasn't likable.
No.
She wasn't likable.
No,
but
Bernie Sanders was the most qualified.
No, listen, that's dumb. I like Bernie. But
then how's it dumb?
Because it was dumb. It's not more qualified. If you just listed the resumes that they all had, Bernie don't come close to, I'll think about Serena. Not Serena, but to Hillary. Because Hillary's worked in every line of sports, I mean, not in sports, but in politics there was, and was married to a president. And
what does that got to do with it?
That don't
what do you
mean? That
being married to a president don't got you.
She was like the side chick, too. I'm just like,
you don't call Hillary Clinton a
side chick in her own marriage. I can't disagree. You don't like to hear it, but
you guys are absolutely losing your minds, man.
I wouldn't say she was the most qualified that year.
She was, like, if you listed the stuff. But listen, we're not even going to get into that. We're going to take a quick break. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more opinionated facts after we pay some bills. Welcome back. Your boys are back. The opinionated facts. I'm gonna leave you guys alone about Hillary Clinton, man, because she's a woman.
She was an embarrassment. She didn't do the work she was supposed to do to get elected. Don't come here making excuses for her. She didn't do what she was supposed to do.
She was the most qualified candidate for her job.
45 came in and got that thing.
Lock her up.
45 came in and got that thing.
And that explains the point.
She lost to a job. The Democrats always try to go this route, man. Oh, she's the most qualified. She's the most this. She's the most that.
She lost the job to a man with no experience. He just happened to be a man.
It's embarrassing on her end.
It says a lot about her.
That's a
It's
joke.
embarrassing on her end.
But speaking of women,
we don't really give our female athletes enough love at times. Not just probably us. A lot of things that I listen to outside of us.
My partners don't really give it.
Nah, we as a whole, the show and other shows don't give women athletes a whole lot of time, and we don't talk about them. We don't talk about some of their successes. And if it is, it's a short story. Like, how many 30 for 30s do you have on women?
We get a two-piece on Michael.
No, we don't get a whole lot. I mean, does Bruce Jenner count? We spent time on that before. Does that count? We don't know now.
I
think
he wants it to count.
Bringing that up, I'm saying because Serena Williams, which me and one of the co-hosts, Brandon Way, we talked about this off air, that he believes she is the most dominant individual sports
I can talk for myself.
Male or female, but we'll get into that.
Okay.
So anyway, Serena this weekend, she wins her first tournament in 3 years since she gave birth to her daughter. She has a daughter. It's a daughter, right?
Yeah.
Daughter. She wins her first tournament since then at the ASB Classic. And then also, Clarissa Shields has 4 major bouts in women's boxing. Probably, I'm not going to say she's the greatest female boxer ever, but I mean, after 10 fights, people want to say that that's the case. And I just think it's too early to call someone great when she may not even be in her prime yet. So we're still trying to figure that out.
It's not really about prime. It's like, because I would speak on Clarissa Shields because that's, I know more about her, what she's doing. In 10 fights, she's won championships in 3 different weight classes. If she was a man, it'd be the headlines on SportsCenter. But it's just, there's no talent. The talent level in women's boxing, for as good as she is, she has no competition pushing her. So it's like it's hard to really give her just due when she's not beating anybody of name. If there was another, Ali had Frazier, and the list goes on and on. If she had somebody else where you could say, oh, she's great too, they fought in their primes and she won, then that's a great accomplishment when she's fighting. No, literally nobody's. It doesn't, and for me, female boxing is not something I gravitate towards. That doesn't think of me what you want. I'm not saying that it's not a sport. I'm not saying it's just not something that I watched. Like, I knew the fight was coming on Friday. I didn't watch it. I watched the undercard fights, and maybe I'm wrong for that.
And then you went and got a drink during her fight.
No, I just turned it off. She didn't even get my ratings. I turned it off.
That is terrible.
I'm just saying, I'm more interested in seeing what Jaron Ennis is going to do moving forward. 25-0 from Philly. And because there's more of a competition. I can say, oh, man, he's a welterweight. Here's these other great welterweights I want to see him fight. Clarissa Shields, I don't know who her opponents are. So it's kind of like, what am I looking forward to? A fight is like with two people. So everybody wants to see Wilder and Fury fight. Everyone wants to see Spence and Crawford fight. There's nobody out there for Clarissa Shields to push her and say, damn, even if it's a weight class or 2 up, be like, damn, if she can make that weight, I want to see her fight. There's literally no other female boxer of name. And that's their fault for not promoting. If there is somebody out there, I apologize, but I don't think there is.
So then what about Serena?
No,
Serena's been dominant in her sport
and
for years.
She's been lucky that there's been other greats in her era. So, and tennis has a great history. Women's boxing, outside of Layla Ali, doesn't have a great history.
But my point is, we don't spend any time on even people like Serena.
What, we don't, or sports in general?
Sports in general.
Serena gets her just due.
Do you believe that?
I feel like
I don't feel
out of everybody,
every other day you see something about LeBron. LeBron opens up SportsCenter. I bet you opens up SportsCenter about 300 times
when she wins a major.
He plays a more popular sport.
Yeah, tennis here worldwide, tennis might be bigger because
tennis is bigger worldwide.
But
they have Super Bowls on every continent almost.
On tennis?
Yeah. We got the U.S. Open, you got the Australian Open, you got the French Open.
Right.
And you got Wimbledon. That takes over that's everywhere. Like they're touching everything.
And when she wins that, she dominates the airways.
What
That's what matters.
She gets a 30-second.
Nah, she gets more than 30 seconds, man.
Serena is the best athlete ever. Male or female.
That's the craziest.
Now you're saying something crazy. That's where you lose me.
Yeah, you lose me there too. Like that's
nobody
crazy.
Dominated their sport the way she has for the amount of time that she has done it.
Tiger Woods had a run.
Did you miss Floyd Mayweather's run?
Floyd Mayweather had a run. Tiger Woods had a run.
Did you miss LeBron's run?
Floyd Mayweather and her run is comparable, and she's still going.
Floyd could go.
No. To me,
it just so happens he made $1 billion already.
She should have. She should have, and that's another thing. She's not getting paid as much as she should.
Stop it.
She should have every endorsement possible. She won.
She won every endorsement by getting those sneakers.
She won a major tournament pregnant.
So you're going to use that?
Yes.
That's what you're using now?
She won a major tournament pregnant.
I said that. I still don't agree that she is one of the greatest athletes ever. Heck, if MJ or LeBron could get pregnant, they would have dominated some finals too.
No, they wouldn't have.
They would have dominated some finals too.
Look, man, the disrespect that women get in general in sport is a joke, and it goes down to the.
I don't think they get disrespected. I'm not saying they're getting disrespected.
You better elaborate.
We just don't touch. People don't touch on it because there's not a broad listen. Like it's not a broad audience for something like that. Like who wants to hear us talk about Serena? Nobody. You might have many women. You know what? Women are their own worst enemies because they want us to talk about these things and bring them to light, but then they don't want to listen about them. They don't want to listen to sports. Oh, I don't know what they're talking about when they talk about football. I don't know what you're talking about when you talk about this. If you want us to speak on these things, then you got to be a listener. You got to be someone that we want to touch on this because we understand that our audience is going to love to hear this.
That is sexist, number one.
No, that's why Drake always makes R&B CDs. Why? Because only women buy albums now. Women are the ones that buy music. Men don't buy music. We find someone to download it for us, or we find someone to steal it and burn it on a CD or whatever. Drake makes certain things that appeal to his type of audience, which is more female. We listen to him because he still raps on stuff. But then all his singles are directed at who?
I agree.
Female audience.
I would love a Drake rapping album. But
never going to get it.
We're not going to get it because of, you raised some valid points. But the point being is men can watch her too. But they choose not because she's a woman.
I watch her.
I don't think it's because she's a woman. It's just a lot of Americans don't gravitate towards tennis that way. And the thing is,
same reason why we don't talk about soccer on the show.
These majors get in saying that she's back or that she's still on her run is kind of.
We did talk about women's soccer before.
She has to win majors at this age for me to be like she's still on top of her game. Winning a random tournament doesn't really do it for me.
Well, in her defense, the tournament was just a tune-up for the Australian Open.
If she wins the Australian Open, then we can talk. But saying that she's the greatest athlete of all time is kind of like a blanket statement.
Then she does things like she donated the entire winnings to the Australian fire situation over there.
She saved some koalas, man.
It's terrible.
It's disrespectful, man.
That's literally what she's gonna do.
Like I said, I thought the donation was anything to help for
kangaroos.
But I think she should have added 52,000 to that and made it 100,000. Because 48 is just an odd number.
How you gonna count somebody else's money?
You're right.
She's only getting paid $48,000 for that.
It was a small tournament. It wasn't like one of the.
So that shouldn't be something we talk about then. At her old age, we should just talk about majors. It's just like Tiger. Like Tiger wins a random tournament. I don't care. You got to win majors at this age.
I care because I want him to get to 100 wins.
Does that matter more than 18 majors? No, it doesn't.
No, don't. I mean, either way, no one's done what he's done in the sport.
No, I get it. He had a run, but those 100 wins don't equate to 18 majors.
Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Serena
is
38 years old with 23 Grand Slam wins.
Well, when she gets to 24, we can talk about her again.
Oh my God!
Who's the next closest, man?
The disrespect that comes out of you guys.
Do you know who the next closest is?
Steffi Graf.
Navratilova, one of them?
I'm not sure.
Sharapova. No, it's not her.
Sharapova.
What I do know is that she don't
making names up at this point.
Nah, Sharapova's the Russian girl that got suspended
on steroids.
Yeah, that was the rival for Serena. I always have wondered how can you call her a rival? She never beats us. He never beats her.
Are steroids worth it?
Maybe.
Like if you tell me right now, I have a shot at making 300 mil, and I just gotta pump these steroids and do this thing, hit a couple home runs, race up a couple hills on a bike. Would I be wrong? But go do some steroids?
I mean, no.
Exactly.
I mean, supplements they're a big deal now.
Why do we judge these people for doing that?
I still don't
understand.
Who
judges them?
Boxers can't drink Gatorade.
Look, rules are rules, man. If the NFL says this supplement is banned, and you get caught taking one of those, you know the rule. They give you a list of everything you can put in you can't put in your body every year. So no one is oblivious to, I can't have this steroid in my system. They know.
All of us, people meaning in media, look down on people who use steroids.
I wouldn't say look down. I wouldn't say look down. It's just
they don't let Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame.
It's not we. That's them old
That's
school.
That's because he's a cheater.
Writers.
He did it for years.
He had to feed his family.
He fed his family before he started taking
fed his family. He was a Hall of Famer before he took.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, he did. Man. He never got caught. That's the problem. His story came out in Balco that he took the clear, something that they didn't have a test for. That's his problem. He never failed a test, and he'll stand behind that. But he took the clear. Same with Roger Clemens. Same with a lot of these guys. I don't look down on them. It's just you did what you did, and you faced the consequences.
You think they took it for the money or the greatness?
Both. There's the money is one thing, but no, we're not going to forget
the money is greatness.
Yeah,
it's not true.
It is.
No, we're talking about.
Look at it, man. Like Floyd, we think he's undefeated, but he's also made $1 billion.
Yeah, you got people
if you're not the best at your craft, you're not getting the top dollar. The reason why these guys are paid so much is because they're so great.
And people like Floyd Landis who just wanted to be great. at what he did.
He got caught the first time though. If you're going to be great at something, you can't get caught right. You can't get caught at the same time.
Word to Lance Armstrong.
Like Lance did it for 7 years and never once got caught.
But we don't know if that was his first time doing it for Floyd Landis. We just know he got caught.
I feel like an idiot. Lance had me wearing that Live Strong bracelet, man. It felt like a lie after that, man. I ripped that joint off, man.
Yeah, like everything he did.
They went out of style.
Yeah, those joints were in style.
Just like that.
People had 3 of them joints on, and when they found out, it just felt so dirty. I felt dirty. I was like, how could you lie to me, man?
No, the steroids.
I don't think he was thinking about you when he lied.
He should have.
Let me ask you guys something, man. Like, we all have off days. So, like, you go to work.
Except for B-Way.
No, we all have off days.
All right.
I've been there. I've been there when you had off days. Like we've done shows, podcasts where you had an off day. So I know for a fact you have off days. I look anything we do. I'm like,
you never noticed.
You go to work and you may not have a great day at work. You know, you may think I wasn't very productive or whatever.
Okay.
Would you ever think in your right mind that you deserve to be fired?
When I was in college on full scholarship, playing football, not playing much, I was thinking, man, like I'm taking a scholarship from a kid who could be out here balling. Does that answer your question? Like, I didn't say take my money away, but it encouraged me to graduate. I took 18 credits fall, took 2 in the winter, 18 more in the spring to graduate so somebody else can have my spot with this scholarship.
And I'm asking because Roy Williams the other day when North Carolina lost. By the way, North Carolina University basketball is having one of the worst seasons I've ever seen them have.
They're a bad basketball team. I've been telling you this for years.
Roy says, well, that was just because you were wrong about that. Roy says at the press conference after they lost to Clemson, Clemson, mind you, has never won in Chapel Hill. They were 0-59 prior to this. Now they're 1-59. So they celebrate like they won the Super Bowl. Roy goes to the press conference like, yeah, maybe you should look into firing me because, I'm supposed to help these kids. Like, a coach is supposed to help his kids, and I did a poor job in it for that. So basically just saying, like, fire me. After all he's done for the university, he's legendary Hall of Fame coach. And I just felt like if I was a player on his team, I'm not sure how I would feel about his comments. Now, this is the second time that same